Hello, everybody out there in a live world. Super excited to have you joining us today as we're going to explore conversation around, do you need a business card? Super excited, apparently, that it even came through on social media. Note to self, make sure the things, I wanted to make sure we could see it. Fun. Anyway, next. So as it comes to this idea of, do you need a business card? And I would love to hear from you in the chat boxes, in the comments below. Do you think you need a business card? And I think this is an interesting conversation that I would be saying yes if it was February of 2020. I know back then you had a handful of people that were using electronic cards, but really business cards were it back then. But do you really need a business card? It depends, maybe. I find myself now, I'm in Florida, so things are pretty wide open in Florida here. It's December 2021. We are almost, I think, completely back to normal in Florida. So people are getting out and networking. However, I'm finding myself using cards less and less. Now, that doesn't mean I don't have business cards. And we have to think about this. Why do you need a business card? What's the purpose? What's the intention of a business card? And I think it's, ease of, let me get my information to you. With everything that's happened with COVID and technology, I don't know if it's 100% that you're going to need a business card. Now, I am a huge, huge fan of having business cards. I think that for the tactile people, they're really going to like it. It makes it easy for us to keep our information. It's almost like my to-do list, though there's lots of different ways that you can do electronic business cards nowadays. I think probably the number one thing that we want to consider, and why do we need a card, and do you need a card actually, is who are the people that you're giving these cards to. If my market is, I'm going after the senior citizens, I'm going after people, and the age I know varies, but the more older population, then I'm probably going to have a business card because they're not as tech savvy, nor am I apparently, as some folks. Whereas if you're going after the younger market, maybe you're going after the millennials, it might be, okay, yeah, you could probably get away with having the electronic business card because they're not as much about having the paper. So it does depend on whom you're looking for as clients, who you're going to give the cards to. I think it's pretty inexpensive nowadays to get some cards, and we'll talk in a few minutes about what to put on the cards. So I like to have them just in case, though some people prefer the electronic. Do me a favor in the comments. What do you prefer, electronic or paper? And so I think part of the conversation includes, what do you put on a business card? And back in the day, people were trying to cram a lot of things into a business card because that was the only piece of information they might get into somebody's hands. Nowadays, I think the business card is more of a gateway to get you to to get people to your website, to get people to your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your social media. And so to me, the business card doesn't have to have as much on it as it used to. My business card, I just have a picture of me because I'm part of my brand. I want to have that on there. If you're branding yourself, then I encourage you to have a current picture of you. If you're not branding yourself, then you could just have the logo. And then my phone number, my email, my website. And then I have the icons for social media to find me. I don't think we have to have a massive list of all the products and services that you offer and your 18 different phone numbers. I guess it'd be like phone and office and cell and fax. If you're still doing fax, there are still people doing fax. That's an interesting one to me. But you just put the basics there. And I think when we think about this idea of what makes a good business card design, it doesn't have to be flashy, though it can be. It's what works for you. And so I recommend spending a couple dollars or several hundred, depending on working with a professional graphic designer or somebody off of Upwork. I talk a lot about using Upwork. I've had people do some great graphic design for me. The goal is we want it to be memorable and we want it to match your brand. So Socks to Success is my latest book that I have, and it talks about how do you brand your business. And there's 113 different ways to brand your business. Business cards are definitely one of them. And so to me, you want your business cards, it doesn't have to be matchy-matchy. Like your website doesn't have to perfectly match your business cards, your book covers, your letterhead, whatever it is that you may have, but you want it to be consistent and in that same family. And so you want to keep that same feel, the same colors, the same fonts throughout all of your marketing material. And again, I'm a big fan of hire a professional, get somebody to take care of that for you, whether it's a couple $100 to somebody locally or $10 to somebody on Upwork. Now, I will say this, when I have people design stuff on Upwork, sometimes it works well, sometimes not so much. So it could go either way. And that actually kind of answers the how to create your own business cards. And I know there's places like, I love Vistaprint. I think Vistaprint is awesome. However, a couple things if you're going to use Vistaprint. I remember we went to a networking event, my husband and I, a couple of years ago, and there were 3 contractors at the event that had the same business card. Like, it was laid out the exact same. They're using a template. So I don't recommend using a template. I recommend, again, having a designer create it for you. And if you're going to order from Vistaprint, at least pay the $5 not to have Vistaprint on the back of your cards. Sometimes when I order stuff, I go to gotprint.com or gotoprint.com, and they have some really cool stuff that I've used. I also use local printers depending on what I'm looking for. I don't want to have the cheapest, flimsiest business card. I mean, really, you can get business cards at like $1,000 or $2,000. I mean, I haven't priced them lately, but I want to say it was like 50 or 60 bucks for, rounded corners, pretty little business cards. Nothing massive, nothing major, just a little opportunity to show yourself and show your brand. And if you've got stuff that you want people going to, QR codes have made a resurgence. It's interesting, back in the day, so I had a promotional products company. We used QR codes, probably the late, I don't know what you call the late 2000s, so that first decade, and then the early teens. However, they really stopped being used almost completely. Though I've seen a resurgence with us being on Zoom now. A lot of people are using QR codes again because you can pop it up on the screen and then show people what you got going on. So you could include that QR code on your business card to get people additional information. So let's check out our chat. Yes. Support local businesses by using local printers. Yes, I do sometimes. I think it depends on what we're looking for. Sometimes using the local graphic designer is great. Sometimes using somebody is awesome. I think it depends, if I need it tomorrow, I rarely want to tax my local printer. Like, oops, I forgot. So plan in advance. If I start getting low on business cards, I use one of the local Minuteman presses that does a great job on my stuff that we've done in person. Now, we're not in person as much, so I'm not using it as much. So you just have to think about, why do you need a business card? What's the purpose? What's the intention? Do you have to have one? I'm not going to say 100% that you do. But for the most part, I recommend it. It's such a low investment, and it's such an easy thing to help you be a professional. So I can't answer yes or no 100% to do you need a business card. I think that probably in another 5, 10, 20 years, we won't be doing hardly anything on paper. But then, really, they talked about when the Kindle came out, like, oh, the written word of the book is done. And I'm still buying business books. I don't know. I'm old fashioned. I like having that paper. I like being able to have somebody's business card I got at a networking event to put on my desk to follow up, but then it does go in the trash after that. So you answer. Tell me in the comments below, especially those of you that are watching this after the fact on YouTube. It will hang out there forever versus just here being live. Your thoughts on, do you need a business card or not, and why? Otherwise, thanks so very much for everybody with here today. And I look forward to seeing you again soon.